involved in bringing these things to Sierra Leone. But I see you've succeeded.
Well, partly.
Partly.
Partly. Thank you. So what we did was that, I was here raising awareness on the project, is to launch an artificial turf project for Sierra Leone, which means we want to have artificial turf in all district headquarter towns and maybe Class A chiefdoms if we could. So what we've done is basically I have been able to bring one for Kailam. Okay. It's been delivered. The construction work is underway. All the assessments have been done so that we can install it. Now we are also urging other people from other districts to help us because bringing the artificial turf in Sierra Leone is very expensive. We want people to help us so that we can install in the district, particularly people of means, professionals who can come together. So now we have a few professionals who have decided to contribute for the Matrujan project, so that one is on its way. We've also had commitment from Dr. Kande Yunkela that he will bring people together for the Cambia. We are also talking to Timothy Kaba and others from Tongo field, so that we can. So we are urging others who are in other places to come forward so that we can do turn Freetown and Sierra Leone football playing field to green. So that is the project. So I think it's a very fascinating moment for us. Yeah.
Indeed. In essence, what will this do in the sports world? What effect or impact will this create generally across the board?
A massive transformation. You know, for years we've been playing on dusty fields, and sometimes that affects the kneecap and basically expertise of our players. Then you have the SLFA, the Sierra Leone Football Association, through a grant from FIFA, decided to do 5. So they did 2 in Freetown, the academy and the approved school. They did 1 in Port Loko and 1 in Kenema, 4 I think. And this also basically pushed the drive for us to do other districts, because you just cannot have, 5 actually, there was 1 in Bo. You just cannot have artificial turf in few places. But then what this is going to do is going to expose young people from not just Freetown, which is normally the case, but from the hinterland, the interior, and the provinces, so that they can also have access to this global facility. You can also then pick anybody, any good footballer from those ends and bring them to Freetown, or maybe export them, because they are now used to play on the same facility that they watch on television. It's going to spur people, it's going to bring a lot of attention to soccer, football, and it's going to ensure that, you know, the ecosystem develops generally.
You know, football is modernizing. It has grown tremendously, you know, and not least in Sierra Leone here. We've had like 2 recent matches, one against, you know, Bissau and Ethiopia. What are your impressions generally?
If you look, we've taken a quantum leap in terms of our development. This is a World Cup qualifier. We had a draw in Bissau. Difficult match away. They were playing for the first time in their stadium, and they had a new coach. They came in with a flair, but we were able to hold our own because we scored first and then we defended. So we got a point from there. We came home. We played against Ethiopia and we won 2 goals. It actually shows we are moving forward, and I think this is something that I want Sierra Leoneans to appreciate. Last October, when we played in the AFCON qualifiers, now we were not having this kinds of results. You know, we lost matches, we drew some, and then we won few. But now it seems like we're on the right trajectory, getting there. In the World Cup qualifiers so far, we have won 2 games since we had a new coach, and two win, 1 draw and 1 loss, which is quite an impressive thing. And I think for Sierra Leoneans who haven't supported football, they are quite excited and happy. I think the performance in Bissau was a bit difficult. The terrain is a difficult place. Getting the professionals to fly into Bissau was difficult. Some of them had to arrive late, primarily because Bissau is almost like Freetown. You want to get to Bissau, you have to wait for days for flights that are getting in there. You know, it's on the peninsula of Africa, and it's quite a difficult place. Few flights going there, and then Of course, you know, you had only this 3-4 days window that FIFA would open for professionals to come in. But I think it was a good result that we took, and then when we had enough time to rest, in Liberia, it was different. The performance was great. You know, the goals were excellent. You know, in fact, Alassan's goal is being compared to George Weah's goal. You know, I still remember when we started watching football in the 1990s. I remember that goal. And so we are quite excited that we're making this progress.
The love for football has grown tremendously as well. You know, I mean, while some people are saying that the selection of players generally for the national team is a bit problematic, others are saying that it's too early, you know, to judge the coach on his performance. So where do you stand?
So we from the National Sports Authority, we don't get involved into these things like this. The Sierra Leone Football Association is solely responsible for the technical aspects of the game. We are a supervisory agency to the Sierra Leone Football Association. But like I said, coaches always have issues. Ancelotti just selected the Brazil national team, and there are criticisms everywhere about players that he left out. People love their own players. People want their team players to be selected. So let us give the coach a chance. We are behind the scene talking to him. Sometimes we whisper to him. But he has a wider discussion to do what he wants to do. One of the things that people complain about, people want wider representation in the national team, and I think that's a fair call from taxpayers. Taxpayers have to be happy that, you know, the resources are not going to only 1 or 2 people, and I think that's a very, very, very positive thing, because one, the Sierra Leoneans are paying attention to the game they love. So let us give him time. Let us give him time. Let us continue to criticize him. Let us continue to hold him accountable. Because Leone Star is one of the most symbolic national unifying factor for all of us. No one owns it. We all own it. You know, so we have to be watching it to ensure that it doesn't get to where we don't want it.
Let's discuss football development and advancement of the game generally in Sierra Leone. And there are a lot of things that are lacking, you know, generally when you talk about, you know, training gadgets, for example, and all of these sophisticated technology. I mean, we're not too far behind, but a lot of people are saying that we could do more. What are your priorities at the moment?
So, football is a multi-million-dollar sport. We haven't invested that much into it in terms of club level. The government of Sierra Leone is the biggest funder of football. You know, despite the challenges that we have, they're doing their level best, getting us participate in this competition, funding it 100%. And I think President Bio needs to be applauded for that. What we now need is private sector investment. Yesterday I had a meeting with bankers, and I was explaining to them that they can make a lot of money in football. We should not just run to the banks for corporate social responsibility. Hey, give me money, we need some money here and there. We need to show them how they can make money from the game, because the banks are profit-making organization. You can give them mileage as much as possible, but firstly they have to see what is in need for us apart from just the PR aspect of it. So, for example, if a bank is funding the Premier League, one of the conditions that you can put is that all the Premier League players should bank with you. You are talking here about nearly 500 clients immediately, right? If you're sponsoring a team, like if you sponsor Eastern Lands FC Cologne or Loa FC, you could have them have their accounts with you and they operate from it, pay their salaries from it. But also, if you say as a bank, for example, or a corporate entity, that FIFA has fixed approved school, I want to build the pavilion around it on the BOT kind of agreement, whereby I operate it until I recover the money, then we give it to you. Approved school is one place where every weekend there's money being made from different games. So you can go into an agreement. So there are a lot of things that we need to show the corporate bodies, that you are not just coming to give us corporate social responsibility, but also as a Sierra Leonean entity, once you support the Premier League, for example, or the First Division League in any of the regions, or you say you are supporting the FA Cup, you are creating employment for about 3,000 young people. If those 3,000 young people have employment, gainful employment, they want to keep their money somewhere. It could be in a bank. They want to make progress. They want to go to a nightclub and enjoy their lives. So the social impact of investing in football is tremendous. And we need to explain that to them. At the National Sport Authority, we keep running to government and we think it's a lot we are asking of government. We are not trying to expand our horizon. So we met with the banks, we met with other corporate bodies. We're trying to bring people together. And it's not just about football, it's about sports generally. Sports will create jobs for a lot of young people. It will engage them from dogs taking kush. You know, we have the crisis of kush now. We also have the issue of crimes. Crime rate is up. You know, very recently, a lot of people just being killed here and there. This is because young people are idle. I have asked someone in the Sierra Leone police to give us the statistics when you have the Premier League playing and when you don't have, what are the crime rates. Because when I ran the Premier League in 2019, we had that statistics that crime rates dropped to about 70% in the city. So when we talk about football and sport, and you say, but on a left wood sports business, is a hub for solving social problems, social evil. Even the market woman, I have a friend of mine who sells at Parade. When the Kofa League wants to start, she texted me. She said, hey, boy, help me, boy, we are lab. Yeah, I will make money, I will able to pay me Peking school fees. Because they sell, people come, they buy from them, they sell their wares. And it's a massive chain that you cannot imagine. People who sell tickets on the gate, journalists who do analysis, who report these issues, have jobs. So I think we need to look at sports as a growth process. And for us, that is what we want to do. Center in sport as a major issue to solve social problems. So for example, we have a polarized country. Mandate team in East, North. When Leone Star plays, bam, everyone is there. Lions, it's a very interesting conversation I had with a couple of Lions supporters. They are SLPP supporters. Ordinarily, they will not wear red. But when Lions is playing, they put on their red attire, and nobody cares. I have seen Cambo Eagle fans who are APC supporters who will ordinarily not wear green, but they will wear green and go support their teams. So that's unifying force that we have. It's more than what we're asking for. So I think we should focus more on developing, and I think we have to thank the government of Sierra Leone for doing a tremendous job. Because when I say the government of Sierra Leone funds the Premier League. It funds the male and female Premier League. Last year we funded the FA Cup, and 100% fund Leone Stars, and we also funded the U20 from the National Sport Authority and the Ministry of Sport. So I think it's a huge task to ask of government.
Indeed. You know, I understand. I mean, the case you're making that at a point government budget is being outstretched. You know, it's a lot actually. It's compounded, and as you've said, it's $1 million, you know, investment in sport generally, not only in soccer. But what do you think is limiting a lot of, still with the corporate world though, I mean, what's limiting them from coming on board, support? I mean, in other countries you'll see Pepsi advertising on jerseys, Adidas and all of these places. So
the first problem we're having is the private sector space is limited. It's very small. So those who are doing well are being overwhelmed with requests. And so, for example, I went to Zimbabwe and Zambia, and I learned from them that their sport is being sponsored by the telecoms. But the telecoms are not really taking their own money. The telecoms are aiding their sports sector to thrive. What do? They sell text messages. So, for example, at the National Sport Authority, we'll sit there and develop 10 text messages a day. Then they take the high-value subscribers, and then they sell the text message. They send you a text message to say, you will receive sport update from us, please subscribe. And then you subscribe, so you get like 500 cents deducted from every text you get. And at the end of the month, that's a big amount of resources. So we have to be innovative with the private sector. We just cannot go Orange, AfriCell particularly, QCell, their back is being broken by demands and requests for help. So how do we innovate? How do we sit with them and excite them that, you know, this is a sector you can help without breaking your banks? You understand? And then we can all relate. But like I said, the few thriving businesses are overwhelmed. If the private sector is expanded, or maybe one of the things we can do is to have tax waiver for sport sponsorship. If you support sport, then you have this tax waiver or deduction from all sectors, and that will help.
Let's talk about the Sheikh Stephen Stadium. It seems to be a lot of people's interest. A lot of people are concerned that it's still closed. The last time we were discussing, about the huge revenues that perhaps a lot of people are losing, not least the government, because on that very facility shows we are being hosted. How far with its completion?
We are almost there.
Okay.
So again, I keep going back to the Sheikh Stephen Stadium. The investment is a big investment. Again, government of Sierra Leone. What happened was that we did not really do proper due diligence on the contract initially. So it was the flair of the stadium is being renovated. The details, and paying attention to the details. So there were no seats on the contract. And then once they were completing the Sheikh Stephen Stadium, FIFA and CAF came in and said, but where are the seats in the main bowl? Because it's now the requirement. You go to Liberia, their stadium is all seated, right? So we realized, we need seats, right? We need seats, and there's no seats in the contract. We have to go back to the Chinese. The Minister of Sport, Madame Tema, she's very passionate about this, and myself and her and the entire Ministry of Sport, we've been working assiduously, and the team at the NSA, working back and forth with the Chinese. So they have now accepted, through the intervention of President Julius Maada Bio, they've now accepted to fix the seats. But then once they agreed to fix the seats, then emerged the second problem. They have to drill the seats on the slabs. Then stand there with the sit on. They say you have to drill the seats on them. Those slabs were done in 1979. And you're going to drill it like 1,000,000 times. So the Chinese did the assessment, and they realized, no, we cannot do this. So then they have to remove those slabs. So which means we have to give them 10 to 12 months to really do it. But if you look at the stadium generally, all the other parts are finished. Now the practice field is finished, the tennis, long tennis, all the other sporting facilities are finished, the hostel is finished, the swimming pool is finished apart from the diving pool. It's only the main bowl that is, in fact, I was just checking, my colleague, Mr. Ali Sise, who is the Director of Corporate in charge at NSA, had sent a circular about a meeting with the Ministry of Work so we can assess what they've done. So we're almost at the stage where the first part, 70% or 80% of the stadium will be finished and handed over to us, maybe by October or December. But then we have to wait for the slabs to be fixed for us to be able to use the main bowl. So we're almost there. And I do understand the impatience of people. Because before I came to the NSA, this project had been commissioned. And it's taken, I think it was 2022, 23. It's taken about 2 to 3 years. Construction projects are difficult. We have to understand that. But the government of Sierra Leone, like I said, the minister is always on our case about this. She's always meeting with the Chinese, And I think it will pay us more if we just exercise a little bit of patience. Because if we finish the stadium as it is, we still cannot play FIFA and CAF games. FIFA will not allow us to play without the seat. Another thing which I want to acknowledge is that because we don't have the stadium, our national team is struggling. We don't have the home advantage. The last game we played against Ethiopia, most Sierra Leoneans went because of the support which the president of the FA did, provided bus for people, and we had good support, and it was lively, it was good. So imagine when we play here, you have 30,000 people watching you and they are cheering you up. It gives you extra motivation. So that's another thing. But also every time we play away, we are spending more money, the government is spending more money. So all our games that we play in qualifiers now are like away matches. We have to travel, and it's costing us money. So we at the Ministry of Sport and the National Sport Authority, we are doing everything humanly possible to ensure that this timeline now, is met.
If this facility is completed, would you compare it to any other international pitch facility?
Absolutely. It will be, when you look at the stadium, really, it's almost like a new stadium that is being built, right? If you look at it, for example, the practice field has its own stands now, its own pavilion, which is lovely. When you take a good photo of that, it looks like any Barcelona or Madrid pitch. And that is very good. Now we are making progress. In terms of infrastructure, we are making progress. So when we finish the main bowl, we cannot compete with anybody. We have the Southern Arena, for example. Now we are putting artificial turf in district headquarter towns. So with football, we will have completed a package. Then we now turn to other sporting disciplines, because football is not the only sport that we have. You know, we have a lot of other sporting disciplines. And the good thing is, the National Stadium looks like an Olympic stadium with a lot of facilities for other sports. And once it's completed, we will be able to push the other sport forward.
Because there is basketball on the side.
Basketball. There's a basketball court there. There's a lawn tennis court, volleyball court. We have the swimming pool. Now, these new games that are emerging, dodgeball, handball, there's also a space which we are trying to allocate to them. So, the cricket has their own field that was allocated to them by the government of Sierra Leone in Sussex, and they are working on fixing that. We had worked with the Basketball Association for the Ministry of Tourism to allocate a land at Aberdeen, which had been done. Paperwork is being done. So there is really a lot of developments happening in the sporting sector.
You know, aside football, as we asked the last time, you know, other people were quite convenient to host their programs there. The schools would do their school sports, you know, Thanksgiving programs, even national ceremonies were being held.
Yeah, being held at the stadium. Look, for example, Tangis.
Exactly.
We no longer have a good space for Tangis. We have to continue doing Tangis. Cultural festival. The halls at the stadium were hosting conferences, international conferences, sports conferences. So we are losing out a lot, and that is our worry in the sporting sector. Our worry is not just about, oh, you're not done it, but what are we losing? A lot of young people want to play different sports. When you go to some countries, for example, in the US, when you go to a place like New York, every 2 blocks you have a basketball court. We don't have that in the country. You know, even though the NSA has a project now of trying to do these things with, not just basketball, but other sporting disciplines. But the truth of the matter is, we are losing out. Now, for example, I had a question from a journalist who was, I think, had spoken about this development. The NSA is supporting other sporting disciplines. We supported a sport like handball, dodgeball, not dodgeball, roll ball, right? And because it's a crowded sport. And the last time I spoke about it, I explained that once you have crowded sport, young people are participating in it. Not all men they play football. Not everyone wants to play football. Other people want to do other sports. You know, people want to play lawn tennis. Volleyball is doing well. They do beach volleyball. They are moving around the country, and we are pushing them to move to the provinces also. So we have supported basketball. We have not been able to support them this year because of the resource constraints. But we supported other sporting disciplines to participate internationally. Handball, for example, and rollball, we have supported. Unfortunately, we have not been able to support dodgeball, even though they've come to us. We've also supported other sporting activities like the brain sports, you know, Scrabble. You know, we hope we'll be able to support chess, because, you know, Emmanuel King had won a competition for Sierra Leone. The women cricketers are doing excellently well. They're winning games overseas, winning trophies. The male-female football is also, they've won the recent WAFU qualifiers. So while the resources are limited, the leaders of these sporting associations are doing well enough to be able to push us forward. But until we are able to play this sport nationwide, we will not be able to deliver. We have to play it in in Kabbalah, in Koinadugu, Gambia, Bo, Kenema, so that you can spot talent, you move forward.
Yeah,